You sounded like the guy from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles just now.
First kid came out sideways.
She didn't scream or nothing.
Get your lazy butt out of that truck.
She good. She's strong.
She's little, but she's strong. You that shower curtain ring feller? Train don't run out of Wichita unless you're a hog or a cattle.
Dad?
Come on now. Because I said so.
But why?
Because I am the grown-up and that's how it is. Now where's my cookie? We're out of here. Come on, Allie.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. We eliminate the middleman and sell this podcast factory direct to you. Please welcome your hosts, Mike and Darren.
Hello, I'm Darren.
Hi, I am Mike.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. This is episode 148.
On this episode,
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about an AI DJ.
Why do you sound like Mr. Rogers?
Is that Mr. Rogers?
You sound like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
I haven't even changed my shoes yet.
Okay. Or your sweater.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a more low-key Mike.
Okay.
We've gotten complaints.
Oh, really?
Mike's yells. Mike screams.
Who complains?
People.
Okay.
People complain.
Okay. And I'm going to talk about the world of TikTok. We're very excited that you're here. And at the end of the show,
Yeah.
we have a special announcement about next week. So hang tight.
Well, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
So everybody who knows me knows that I'm an idiot. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. I have a Facebook page. Okay, I have a Twitter account at Darren Loves Bacon. Nobody goes on my Twitter account.
You're not an idiot. You're stupid. Well,
Okay,
Okay. No, that's wrong.
right.
That's wrong.
I'm goofy.
You're goofy.
I'm
You're
goofy.
You're
Okay.
not stupid.
Yeah.
You couldn't be funny and be stupid. You
Thank
you
you.
can't.
Thank you.
You can't.
So a few weeks ago, I was on the Facebook and I was bored.
Yeah.
And Darren, Facebook boredom is a lethal combination. So I don't know how, but this is how my brain works. I was like, I wonder what the most popular type of apple is. And honestly, that came into my mind.
Yeah, Gala.
So I went to Google and I looked up, and sure enough, there is a list of the most popular types of apple.
Yeah.
And so I went on Facebook and I said, if you ever wondered what the most popular type of apple is, you can go on Google. Thank God for the internet, right?
Yeah.
Well, the comments started pouring in.
Uh-huh.
I hate Granny Smith. And then another person said, it's like Honeycrisp, in my opinion, are the best apples.
Yeah.
Okay. And they weren't even in the top 5.
So, yeah.
And there was outrage. People were like, what? Hey, what happened? And we all agreed that we hated the Granny Smith apples.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I loved Granny Smith apples.
They're great if you're making a pie.
Well, when you're like, I would eat them like a human being.
Yeah.
I would grab it
Well,
and
you are a
I
human-
would eat it like a
Yeah.
person does.
Okay.
And as I got
Not
older,
like a horse.
I had a long non-apple period. I didn't even eat apple pie for years.
You went through a non-apple
Yeah,
period.
and then I came back.
And then you came back to apples.
Because they're so basic, I want a fruit.
Have a
have an
non-apple
apple, Captain America.
Okay.
No, get a real fruit. Get a banana or get a watermelon or something. But I came back into the fold of apples.
Okay.
And everybody was talking about these Honeycrisps.
Oh, they're- yeah.
And then galas.
Uh-huh.
There's this gala and that gala
Mhm.
and that. So I didn't really get excited about the Honeycrisp.
Okay.
I like the gala. The Honeycrisp seemed too bulbous. Bulbous. So I went for.
They were very penultimate.
They were very penultimate.
Opaque.
They were bulgy. They were huge, bulgy fruit, and I liked the gala, the more refined,
Now you
the more
pronounce it
svelte.
Gala apples and not
Gala.
Gala.
Gala. Oh,
I call them Gala.
Gala.
Because I'm an American.
Okay.
Okay.
So I started going with
Gala.
those, and then I'm like,
Jesus.
hey, when I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
I liked these Granny Smith apples.
Yeah.
And I got one, and I bit into it, and
you
it's,
started to
it's
cry.
like Satan's fruit. It's not done.
No, it's not.
It's not finished.
You didn't put any sugar in this apple.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like they were in the middle of inventing the apple, and somebody said, fuck it, and just threw it out when it was
Just
half
pushed
done.
it down the. They didn't
Yeah.
color it.
No,
They-
they didn't do shit. We don't even find worms in them. Worms won't even go to Granny Smith.
No, they won't.
So
So anyway, I went off on this rant,
Yeah.
and I got a lot of comments. And Shannon Brown was bitching about this apple, and then someone was bitching about that apple, and then my friend Marilyn didn't get it. She totally didn't get it because she commented, and then I replied to her with a very smart-ass comment.
No.
That's exactly like something you would say.
Oh,
well,
you like to say that.
So Marilyn doesn't know me personally.
Uh-huh.
Marilyn knows me through the Letterman fan page that I'm on. So I reached out to her and said, listen, I'm just screwing around. I'm bored. I'm on Facebook. I don't want you to think I'm being a about these apples because, honestly, I'm just, She goes, okay, I get it, but I don't get it. I understand that you're being, you, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a woman in my neighborhood who I forgot follows me on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm taking a walk as one does now that it's nice outside.
You're allowed to.
Right. Well, you're allowed to go for a walk anytime. It's America.
Yeah.
So I'm out there and I'm taking a walk in my neighborhood and this car rolls by, stops, rolls the window down. Honey Crisp!
You had a drive-by Apple preference?
And I said, and this is like the next day.
You got Applejack.
I got Applejack. It was like 2 days later, and I'm like, what? And then she says, Honey Crisp. I'm like, oh, yeah. The joke. Yeah. There's nothing awkward about this conversation now. I'm like, I sure do. I sure do love those. Yeah. All right. Well, be careful going home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gotta love the internet.
This portion of our show is brought to you by Universal One Jumbo Color-Coded Paper Clips. Hi, I'm Dave Lay, and I'm nothing if not organized. You can ask anybody, especially my wife. Whenever I do paperwork, I'm a stickler for keeping my together. That's why I use Universal One Jumbo Color-Coded Paper Clips. Let's face it, staples are barbaric, so I always use paper clips. Universal One paper clips are made from vinyl-coated wire, and they have a smooth finish to help make your paperwork filing a more pleasant experience. And they come in a variety of fun colors. So be the hit of your office and buy a case of Universal One Jumbo Color-Coded Paper Clips. They come 250 to a pack, so you can file your important documents and make a festive rainbow-colored paperclip necklace. Back to you guys in the studio.
Speaking of the internet.
Yeah.
So I fire up Spotify. Now, I'm a happening dude.
You are an
I'm a pretty...
You have your finger on the pulse of popular culture.
Well, I try.
You
I
do.
get excited when I like a newish band. I was so excited.
I didn't know you were newish. Oh.
What?
Okay. I thought you were Presbyterian.
We don't... We only celebrate on holidays. We
Gotcha.
don't observe all.
Right.
I was excited when I liked AWOL Nation. They're a relatively newish band.
Yeah, you've told me about them.
Yeah. Gojira. I mean, long-term fans of the show know that I enjoy Gojira.
Yes.
And they are a relatively new band. And they're disturbing. So they have that going for them.
Yes.
I enjoy the Pussifer. Now, they're not that new of a band, but they're newish. They're newer than, let's say, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. I think every band is newer than Led Zeppelin.
Okay. And I liked, was really proud when I liked Modest Mouse years ago. They were new at the time.
Yes.
I don't want to be that guy that listens to the same stuff over and over. And
I hear you.
I fall in those traps sometimes with the band that shall not be named.
Right.
With Tool. I went down a Pink Floyd rabbit hole a couple years ago, but lasted for a long time.
Yeah.
But they still...
The Pink Floyd are amazing.
In my defense, they're badass.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Anyone who says Pink Floyd are a bad band can go screw themselves.
Occasionally, I like to find new bands.
Yeah,
I like to hear
too.
new music because I don't want to be that guy that doesn't know anything about new music.
Right.
And I don't think that all new music sucks. I think that's a trope.
Yeah.
Right.
My father was like that.
Yeah. I think people like what they liked when they were teenagers and when they were in college or those years. And then it kind of sticks with them. And I sense that when it's happening with me. I'm like, I need to quit listening to Stone Temple Pilots for a bit and go listen to something that was made this century.
Okay.
Right?
Fair enough.
So I go looking, and a great place to do that is Spotify. For years, Spotify has had a thing where it kind of watches what you're playing.
Yeah.
And it'll say, hey, here's a rock playlist that is kind of like what you would like, and what we've noticed that you would like.
If you like this artist, you'll also like this artist.
Psychopaths like you would enjoy this type of music.
Right.
Okay. So I've found new bands from that.
Yeah.
Today, I fired up the Spotify, and I have my little speaker at work that I listen to it at a reasonable volume.
Okay.
I'm allowed to listen to Spotify at a reasonable volume.
Yeah.
And a new feature is the AI DJ.
Oh,
It's like, oh,
with the wiki.
yeah. And I was like, okay. And I
Okay.
touched it, and it talked to me through my YouTube speaker. I tapped it.
You tapped
I
it.
tapped it.
Hmm.
And it said, hey, this is Roy. That's his name.
Roy.
Or whatever his name was. I don't
Of
remember what
all
his name.
the,
I'm going to say is
I'm
Roy.
a DJ. I'm Roy.
And it's like, I'm your virtual DJ. And he said, I'm not a real person.
Uh-huh.
I'm living inside Spotify. And
Okay.
I was like, this is kind of weird, but
Yeah.
it's like, so Mike, he called me by name.
Okay.
He's like, it looks like you like blah, blah, and just rattled off that band that shall not be named.
Uh-huh.
It's like, it sounds like you're looking for some new music.
Yeah.
And I'm your AI buddy. It goes
Oh.
through the whole,
Okay.
And it starts playing something from that band that shall not be named. It said, let's start you out with something that you're kind of used to.
Okay.
It's like, okay, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And it played a song from them. And they came back as like, how'd that grab you? We know you like that when you played it X number of times last year. And I'm like, okay, this is getting a little creepy.
Did Roy actually say, how did that grab you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did that
And
tickle
it
your
said-
sweet spot,
it
Mike?
said,
Mike,
let's-
did that give you the feelings inside?
He's like, let's throw another one at you that's kind of along those same lines. And it threw a different band that I hadn't heard that did sound kind of like that band that shall not be named.
Was it the Black Pumas?
I don't know who it was.
Okay.
I didn't look.
Okay.
And then that one, it said, hey, Mike. It just out of the blue, hey, Mike. It talked to me.
Okay.
It's like, let's change things up a little bit.
Let's get crazy.
Let's use a genre that you don't really listen to that often,
Oh.
but we think you'll like.
Okay.
And then it started playing something that I did not like.
Okay.
It was like a saxophone
Uh-huh.
with with the saxophone, and I think there was a lady in the back going. I did not
You're
enjoy
like,
that.
Roy.
And
Roy.
so I skipped it. You
Uh-huh.
can push a button and skip it, or tap a button
You
and
tapped
skip it.
it
I tapped
again.
it.
Yeah, you double
and
tapped.
it went into another thing, a different saxophone, this time with keyboards.
Okay.
And the dude was doing like a wild solo on the saxophone. So I let that one get about halfway through
Okay.
and tapped it. And then Roy came back.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Mike. Me and Roy go way back at this
Well,
point.
yeah.
He
You
said-
sounds like you and
He
Roy are
said,
going to go get some.
sounds like you're having some trouble trying that jam on.
Oh, trying that jam
So
on.
let's switch gears again
Uh-huh.
and let's go this direction.
I think
and
you'll
it started
be down
playing-
with that,
It started,
Mike.
and I turned the damn thing off at that point. I'm like, you know what, Roy, go fuck yourself. And I put on some Led Zeppelin, and not that I like hearing new music, but Roy's got to get his together.
What? Roy just sounds
So,
creepy.
here's-
Roy's like, hey,
here's
I'm
the
gonna
thing.
pick you up at 8, and we're gonna
So-
go for a ride, and I'm gonna let you try something that you're really gonna like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'd love it. I'd like it if they'd use the cousin Eddie voice. Here's something that I think you'll find really nice. You know? So a couple of things. We are in the dawn of the AI age, where AI
Yes.
is like
Yes.
creepily real.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I've actually used it on some of our posts. I'll like just type out like the random show notes.
Venomous
and-
beaver.
Okay. Well, the artwork came
Yeah.
from Venomous. The Venomous Beaver artwork came from AI.
Yeah.
Some of the postings about our episodes, I'll say we talk about flaming
what?
weasels and something, and it'll say, "Hey, here's a new episode where the boys really delve into the blah blah blah." It writes this whole thing.
I am picking up what you're putting down.
Here's the point.
Okay.
We're at the point where it's still showboating a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Grandstanding.
Grandstanding.
Yeah.
So Roy, the AI buddy,
Mhm.
has to pop in, call me by name,
Yeah.
say, hey, sounds like I'm throwing you some that you just can't catch. Say things like that.
Uh-huh.
You know, here's something that'll just slam your mama. And
Wait,
throw it at
what?
me. Hello. Like that, Roy's got to be like, all happening.
The last music that slammed my mama was Jackson Brown. Okay. So
So
give me all you got,
it's
Roy.
fun. It's fun to be in this. You remember Smell-O-Vision? Let's go here.
Okay.
You remember 3D? They would have the 3D movies, and you'd get the little 3D glasses, a little red and the blue
I
on
remember.
one
Yes.
eye. And
3D
they would,
glasses.
every once in a while they would show a 3D movie on like regular network TV, and you get those glasses at like a gas station or a Kroger,
Yeah.
or a Tradewell in our case.
okay.
And you go there and you're like, we're going to show Godzilla was one movie. They were or not Godzilla. Who's the monkey? King Kong.
King Kong.
They were doing King Kong in 3D,
Uh-huh.
and
Had the guy with the paddle.
at our lake, yeah. Yeah, what you do, it would do thing. It would be like a guy would be talking, all of a sudden he just put his finger towards the camera. Go, ooh,
It's over there. Yeah.
3D.
Yeah.
Yeah. there'd be things in the paper. Go get your glasses at the Sunglass Hut or wherever,
Tradewell,
and to Tradewell, and watch it. And I'd watch it. It didn't work. I mean, it kind of did, but it didn't really.
Yeah.
And they did the same thing with Smell-O-Vision. They had a sticker. I remember it was in the paper. Go to Tradewell again and get your Smell-O-Vision scratch and sniff stickers. And then it would be some black and white movie, and it'd be like, I smell something odd, and a little thing at the bottom would say "scratch sticker 3," and you'd scratch it, and it's like an ass or something, and whatever.
Wait,
yeah,
whose ass? Because that
was the mystery.
Okay.
So, and those things went away. Thought I passed out. Those things have gone away. Those 3D things have gone away, and then Real D came. Remember Real D in the theaters was like, oh my, like Avatar, I think was the first mainstream huge one like that. And things kind of settled down. Now we're in VR, so things have kind of moved along the way. I think we're in that Smell-O-Vision version of AI right now before it goes full Skynet and enslaves us all.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, I've got a music player that'll talk to me and try to give me a jam that I dig, but it's annoying the piss out of me. It's like the guy in the group of friends who won't shut up about Steely Dan.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to listen to Steely Dan, and this really gets you, and you're like, I don't want to hear that.
Oh, and he
and
knows.
you're like, okay, he turns it off, and like, here's Garfunkel without Simon, because we know how you feel. All that stuff. They, switching things up and trying to be likable. They're going to get to the point where it just plays the music that it knows you're going to like, and you're going to start thinking, I actually do kind of like everything that this thing is playing. And that's right before they completely take over our minds and kill us all.
Yeah.
That phase. But we're not there yet. We're still at the phase where we're
closer now than we've ever been.
They're annoying as And it reminds me, this is May.
Mm-hmm.
This is the month where it's Tau Day. Tau Day is May 25th.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yes.
A celebration of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes.
And one of the big themes in there is where Arthur Dent, the lead of that book, the main character, goes to a computer that's going to make him tea. And it does some kind of profile of you to determine the perfect cup of tea for you. It spits it out. It uses AI and all this stuff. He takes a drink. He thinks it tastes like cat piss and throws the cup. And he becomes like a figure of the the revolution against AI.
Yeah.
In that book. And I really don't know where I'm going with this.
What happened?
I just think it's creepy. I think it's creepy as that they've skipped over. Like, they have to have the guy come in and talk to me like I'm his buddy.
Yeah.
He's not even a real person.
No.
It's not pre-recorded things. I know it's some guy's voice, and because they do that now. You can have Arnold Schwarzenegger say whatever. We could have Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice. We could write the script for this show and have him and Sylvester Stallone. Actually, I may do that. I may take one of the transcripts and feed it in and have them, like a show with them.
Okay.
That may be a fun project. I
Your point,
don't want to talk to Roy.
Right. Yeah, they don't need that.
And Roy's listening to me right now.
Right.
He's probably going to give me some next time.
Roy is unhappy.
Next time I
You
start
know why
Spotify.
Roy's unhappy? Because you're unhappy, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, you're right. They don't need to have something talk to you to, it's like, all they have to do is just, you enjoyed this, enjoy this. Although that's screwy because Netflix used to do that. And whenever, I used to have the DVD plan on Netflix. And so we would get a DVD, you watch it, you send it, and then they send you another one. You go through and you pick, you make your Q, which, by the way, Q is spelled Queuue. Too many U's.
Yeah.
Too many,
just
whatever.
One letter. Just say Q.
Q. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah.
So I had watched, I think it was a horror movie, not like a crazy horror movie. It was like a psychological drama, what they call it. And they said, if you enjoyed this movie, you'll enjoy some of these.
Yeah.
And one of them was the Clint Eastwood directed movie about Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Okay.
Like, what does that got to do with this psychological thriller that I watched?
The same director or the same key grip.
It wasn't. Yeah, it may have been the same key grip.
Yeah.
But those two movies had absolutely nothing in common. Okay. And you are like me, and I have an extremely diverse taste in music.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can listen to Willie Nelson
Yeah.
and then listen to Rage Against the Machine.
We're the first ones hunted down and shot when the AI takes over.
Yeah.
Because they can't get a grasp on us. They're
Exactly.
Like, he wants Gojira. He was just listening to a video game soundtrack.
Exactly.
And Paul Simon. What? Kill him.
Yeah.
Go take him down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm listening to Man of War, and then the next second I'm listening to the Indigo Girls.
Yeah.
Loving them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
can't say, Darren, you like this, you're going to also like this, because
Yeah.
I may not.
Yeah.
Because I don't like all heavy metal music.
And-
I don't like all country music.
No.
There's a lot of country music I despise.
It has to be the top level,
Yeah.
top shelf country music.
Yeah.
It's got to be Black Label. It's got to be
Exactly.
100-year-old,
Yeah.
aged in
Yeah.
a barrel.
My
country
second
music for me.
favorite song of all time is the Humpty Dance by the Digital Underground.
Okay, that's not country.
But no, it's not.
Okay.
But I don't like hardly any rap music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't pin
Well, here's
a musical style on me.
There was a long period, and I still do.
Don't even try it, Roy.
I still like Eminem, and I had all of Eminem stuff up to a point, but I don't like rap that goes that tries to be super offensive.
Right.
But I like Eminem a lot, and I really like.
And Eminem
Ice
is very
Cube.
offensive.
He is.
Yeah.
For fun.
Okay.
And I think that I'll tie this back to rock.
Okay.
Because we've had this discussion before.
Mm-hmm.
I expect certain rock stars to be. If
Yeah.
I find out that they're not, I probably would never listen to them again. Example is one of my favorite musicians is Noel Gallagher of Oasis.
Oasis.
I love Oasis, but I've
Yeah.
always loved Noel. If I meet him, I expect him to be an. I expect him to be a. If
Yeah.
he's nice to me, I'll lose a little bit of respect for him. Conversely, if I meet anyone from that band that shall not be named, and they're even the slightest bit of a jerk to me, I'm going to have
Exactly.
major problems.
I hear you.
Those two thoughts, those two expectations exist in my brain
Yep.
simultaneously, and it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
I would have expected Johnny Cash to be an ass to me.
Yeah.
I expect Willie Nelson to be very nice.
Yeah. Now, see, I think Johnny Cash would be. I've got a friend.
Well, it depends on when you meet him.
I've got a couple of friends who've met him, and that he was absolutely amazing.
All
Now,
through his thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, many years ago, probably 35 years ago, I met Gene Simmons. He was arrogant as hell, would
Yeah,
not
yeah.
talk to me, barely looked at me.
Yeah, I would expect that.
Yeah. And I was like, oh,
That's
that was Gene Simmons.
awesome.
Yeah, that was Gene Simmons. He refused to look at me. Okay. And then about 15, maybe 20 years ago, I met John Waite.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And exactly. It's like you said, I once got my mom backstage to meet Dan Fogelberg. And I thought, if you so much act one iota like an I will kill you, Dan Fogelberg.
Yeah.
And he was as nice a guy as you could possibly imagine. Mom was like, oh, he was so nice.
Yeah.
Mom
Yeah.
doesn't talk like that. But yeah, I expected Gene to be that way. And I was hit and miss with Dan Fogelberg. I didn't know if he was going to be what or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're looking at a guy who's met Gene Simmons and Dan Fogelberg.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I look at Gojira as being more intense and hardcore metal than Metallica. If you tell me you listen to Metallica and you have one person listen to Metallica and one person that listens to Gojira, the one that listens to Gojira, I'm going to be I'm going to watch myself around a little bit more. They
Right.
may actually lunge at you.
Yeah.
Okay. But I expect Metallica to be asses to me, and I expect Gojira to be nothing but nice.
Actually, there are members of Metallica who I think would be asses, and then a couple who I don't think would be
So
asses.
our mutual friend Kevin that
Yes.
got us into the Metallica
Exactly.
in Louisville,
Yeah.
he has met James Hetfield,
Yeah.
and he asked James Hetfield to call him up.
Yeah.
And James refused and said, man, I'm not going to call you a
Okay.
And Kevin was like, come on, just call me a And he wouldn't do it. And then as Kevin...
You know I'm editing this one.
I know.
Right? Okay.
As Kevin and Jim were walking away, he said, okay, in full
Nice.
James. Yeah.
It's time now for the Kroger Story of the Week.
I was at our favorite grocery store last week,
Uh-huh.
and I was getting a cake for Cameron because he had a birthday. He turned
Yeah, yeah.
15. So
Yeah. What
I was
kind of
going
cake did you get him?
just it was a confetti cake with white icing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Um,
No fruit in the middle of it.
No. Well,
Yeah,
we had
good.
an ice cream cake made
Yeah.
with ice cream sandwiches
Yeah.
and fudge and stuff,
Okay, all right.
and then a regular cake in case kids didn't want ice cream cake.
Because there's a kid like me.
Turns out the kids ate a piece of cake and a piece of ice cream
There you
cake.
go.
But whatever. So I picked up the cake that I wanted, and I go to the bakery, and I'm waiting for someone back there to come and write "Happy Birthday, Cameron" on it. And this lady comes out, nice as enough. You know, she's probably in her 20s. She's got her hand in a cast or in a brace.
Okay.
And she says, do you need something decorated on the cake? I said, yeah. Can you write "Happy Birthday, Cameron" on there? She says, sure.
Yeah.
She says, how do you spell it? And I said,
HAPPY.
I said, CAMERON. She goes, okay, CAM. She goes, okay, CARECAM. E.
Yeah.
How it's not hard. Cameron.
Yeah.
And so she finally gets it, and you know me, I can't stop talking.
Yeah.
I can't stop asking questions. I said, what happened to your hand? She says, oh, I pulled my thumb out of the socket while washing my hands.
Hey, what happened?
Holy Lord.
I'm like, how hard are you washing your hands?
Really one of those things clean.
And they're back there using lava and boiling water. Gotta get the dirt off these hands.
Yeah.
And bang.
Wow.
Pulled the thumb out of her socket, washing her hands. Yeah. Maybe she ought to get some of those Sandy wipes.
Yeah.
And just gently approach it.
For sanitary wipes, not Sandy.
No, not
Yeah.
Santa wipes. Sandy wipes. Yeah.
It's been a good 147 episode run.
This has been the Kroger Story of the Week.
Are you on the TikTok?
I am on the TikTok.
I'm on the TikTok, and I made the mistake of watching a video where a deer got its antlers caught in a fence.
Oh,
Okay. And so two guys, and I watched every waking second of these guys trying to get this deer, get the antlers out of the barbed wire fence. They got it loose, and then the deer just runs off. Doesn't even say thank you. Just runs, just gets the hell out of there. These guys, they didn't have to save the deer.
No, they didn't.
Okay, no, they did not.
No.
But they did.
Yeah.
Out of the goodness of their stupid hearts,
Yeah.
they saved this deer. Then the deer doesn't even stop and turn around and look at him and give him a nod. Because
A deer nod.
I know deers don't talk. Okay,
Right.
I know that.
Yeah.
The deer still could, it's like dogs don't talk either, but they still go over and rub their head on you.
Yeah.
You know when a dog says thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I made the mistake of watching this video. Now, every day I see people in a boat. They get a turtle and it's caught in a net. And they sit there and they pull the straw out of the turtle's nose.
Yeah.
Okay. They find the rabbit with its foot in the trap and they put the thing around the neck of the animal so that it doesn't bite. And then they get the foot out of the trap.
You've been down the old TikTok hole.
Every day. And I can't stop.
See,
I made the mistake of watching somebody getting their pimple popped.
Oh, okay.
And now, gross. And then I found out the difference between a pimple and a boil. I didn't need to know that. Thank you, TikTok.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing.
If you're eating at this point.
Well, we're not going to post any pictures or video of it on this page.
No. But yeah, it's like we learned that from Megan Mitchell when she was on here. She was talking about how the algorithm in TikTok watches you per second, which once she said that, it makes sense that it's called TikTok. And actually, TikTok.
Yeah.
It's actually tracking how many seconds you watch a certain type of video. And
That's why they call it TikTok.
Yes. And then it'll feed similar videos to you. So, I don't complain too much about what's on TikTok because if somebody's really listening, the AI is listening. It's like, oh, well, you must be watching a lot of deer get caught in fence videos for that to happen. Because I have not yet seen a deer caught in a fence or a turtle. I'll tell you what I do get a lot of. I get a lot of the back rooms. You heard of the back? We've talked about those
told
briefly.
Me about the back
That's a horror thing.
Yeah.
I get a lot of, you're scared of the ocean? Here's some that'll make sure you never step foot in water for the rest of your life.
I see those.
Yeah.
This shark came 2 feet up on land.
Yeah.
Now you're afraid to stay on the land.
And then randomly I'll get a skateboarder. I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
But it's like I watched a fight between a skateboarder wanting to grind a rail. You'll be impressed that I know this. Grinding down these steps. And there was a woman that pulled up in her minivan demanding that these damn teenagers get off of the steps. Someone's going to get hurt. And they were yelling back as politely as they could, "Hey, lady, get the fuck out of our way." And there were multiple of them with cameras. One was set up down next to her van because that's where he was, and she pulled up right next to him.
Yeah.
Someone at the top of the steps and someone in the middle. And they were all yelling, and they kept switching camera angles because they put this video together. And the one guy that was going to grind the rail was yelling, hey, lady, get the fuck out of our way.
Again, I'm editing this week.
And she wouldn't move. And then the guy down below yelled out, and I'm going to try to censor myself.
Okay, yeah.
Just blanking do it.
Yeah.
She's not going to move anyway. And then the guy at the top said, yeah, dude, I think you can totally miss her. And the whole time you hear her yelling, this is unsafe. You need to leave. You need to leave this area. And the guy in the middle was yelling back, this is a public staircase.
Yeah.
This is a public park. We're in a 30-second video and we're out of here.
Yeah.
You need to leave. And then the guy went back, and now she thought he was leaving. What he was doing was going back to get his running start and and then slam down on the ground with it and then come up and grind.
That's what she said.
And he's walking away, and you hear her say, there, now somebody has some sense. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be the greatest video I've ever seen in my life.
Mr. Bill.
Yeah, Mr. Bill. And he comes tearing up. Now, you can see him because you're looking at all their angles, but you can't see it from her angle.
Yeah.
So it's fun because you see him running full tilt, jumps on the board, and kicks up into the air. When he gets in her view, you hear her go, oh, Jesus. And he comes down, grinding on the rail, right towards her face because she's stupid enough to be at the end of the rail. I don't think she knows what grinding a rail is.
Right.
He's coming right at her. She dives out of the way. He flips off the end of it and does one of those twirly, the skateboarders know what I'm talking about. The skateboard flips around and then lands on its wheels, and he lands on top of it. And everybody cheers, and she's on the ground screaming. And then they all just leave. And the one guy that's on the steps as they're walking away is keeping the camera on her as she gets up and gets in her van and she leaves.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite videos. But because I watched the whole video 3 to 4 times, cackling the entire time, now random skateboard videos will pop up in the midst of all this.
At my first TV station, we did a little half-hour show that aired once a month, I think.
Yeah.
And it was geared at the teens. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like America's youth today. And there was a new skate park opened up in Johnson City. And I went out there to get footage of these skateboarders. Now, I don't skate. Okay. So it would have been great if I did, because I could have got some footage on the skateboard, going through the park, but I couldn't. And I'm trying to get as creative shots as I can with the camera on my shoulder. But whatever. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do this. And this was one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life, especially in my career. Okay. Had it not worked, it really, really, really would have not. I laid on my back with the camera shooting straight up.
Yeah.
And I let these 3 guys jump over me.
Yeah.
And I saw... And the first time they did it, they were off center. So they just were kind of in my shot a little bit. And my heart's just pounding. And I said, I need you guys to do it again. And I need you to go right over the lens.
Oh, boy.
And they did it again. I brought the footage back to the station, and everyone's like, are you out of your mind? I'm like, yeah, it's a cool shot, though. It's a cool shot. All they had to do was jump a little.
Flub up once.
And one of the engineers said, do you know how much that camera costs? Not concerned about my face.
No.
But,
yeah.
Guys, we're about out of time. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, there's a special announcement. On our next episode, we have a very special guest, and we're recording that in probably about 40 minutes. Our guest on the next episode is legendary radio personality, actor, podcaster, extraordinaire, Mr. Shadow Stevens. Okay, Shadow Stevens. Many of you remember him from the Hollywood Squares.
Hey,
many of you. Well, he was on the Larry Sanders Show. Yeah. He's an actor. He is hysterical. One of the nicest people I've ever worked in this business that I work in. Anyway, he's going to be our guest, and he's going to talk about his career. He's going to talk about a thing called Mental Radio, which is his most recent project. It's a radio drama that he produces, and it's hysterical. And I can't even begin to describe it, but But that is coming up on the next episode of Irritable Dad Syndrome. So you're going to want to be sure and listen to that. We want you to go to irritabledadsyndrome.com. If you like the podcast, you want to support us, you can, go to Patreon. You can throw us a couple of bucks. We got a new patron member last week.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I know. That was awesome.
Chris Calloway.
Yeah, Chris, thank you so much for doing
He went
that.
with the penultimate.
He did.
We've got to up our game.
Yes, we do. So, Chris, thank you so much. And there's going to be something for you coming down the road here. But again, we thank you so much, and we hope to see you again on Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Oh, good. The show's over. I'm going to get some pudding.
Recording stopped.